Greetings and welcome to Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video, where today I'm going over the Q1 2024 balance changes I'd like to see for Kill Team. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Do you like it or not? And remember, I've got Discord you can check out in the episode description below for free, an affiliate link, Element Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. But let's get into the video. So yeah, today I'll be going over the buffs and nerfs for Kill Teams based primarily on the Q4 stats that I've just published. You know, it will be primarily stats based, so I won't be covering teams I think need to be nerfed, only ones where the data basically can back it up, you know, because technically the last balanced data slate was based off of data that was more, well, it wasn't really based off of data, it was just based off of a lack of data based on who didn't make it to Worlds, but some teams were missed. Regardless, that's what I'll be basing these stats on, so it's nothing personal. Please, it's just for fun. People get quite upset over these kind of videos. It's just fun. Like, literally, there are teams I would like to buff or nerf, which aren't on here. I'm just primarily going over the stats because that's the best way to justify them. So there'll be notable teams you will not see. So let's get into it and have a nice, fun old time. Fun. So starting with the buffs, we have the Farstalker Kinband. So, you know, when we're going over buffs and nerfs, we're looking at buffs first. So we're looking at kill teams who are under 45% overall. And then when we get to nerfs, we're looking at kill teams that are with a win rate of 55% or more with other factors. Farstalker Kinband need a lot of help. They are a really weird kill team. They have all these great abilities. They just don't have, they're just not doing well. You know, they've got 8 wounds, 12 operatives, 11 activations. But they just can't do it. So these changes kind of help with their main problem, which is basically killing. My proposed changes would be changing the base Troupe melee damage from 3-5 to 3-4. I thought about tying it with their strategic ploy that gives them +1 attack, but I think it's just a general Troupe change, because the main problem they have, there's so many 8 wound teams now that being 3-4 is just really bad into, even though they hit on 3s. So just generally making them 3-5 base in combat. So this would be Troupe Hounds as well as normal Crew Warriors, but just a really good change. And it doesn't require them being CP dependent, because, you know, Troupe should be more fearsome than the average human. Then for the Troupe Pistolier, Gunslinger Salvo loses the normal move restriction. So basically, as long as he stands still or does a dash action at the moment, he can fire his pistol twice. My change is just, you can't do it while falling back, but you can now move and double pistol, dash double pistol, or stand still and double pistol. It just gives him more utility and makes him a bigger threat, as he should be. Then for the Troupe Stalker, it's just increasing the Stalker's Blade to 4 attacks from 3, because it's really weird having a melee specialist with only 3 attacks base. At least making him 4 attacks base means when you spend your CP for an extra attack, you're going to 5 attacks. Just makes him more useful overall, especially as he'll be 3-5 now instead of 3-4. Then you've got the Troupe Tracker. Delete the last sentence from the eye above, because I only found this out recently, and I've played a lot of Farstalker Kinband. As long as you're within 6 inches of their comms, they can't give out +1 APL. You know, I guess they shoot your bird, scare your bird away. Just remove that. They don't need that restriction. So it just makes the comm better overall. And then based on changing the Troupe's base damage from 3 to 3-5 from 3-4, you just make the leader's Ritual Blade 0 EP. It just gives them some more melee punch. So, you know, you have some better base melee damage. And I think with those changes, the kill team is like probably in a really, really good spot, because you address their main weakness, was just damage output. They don't have much rending, so they're still relying on rolling crits, but, you know, that's my name. But it just makes their Pistolier better at what he does, which is shooting. Your Stalker better at being a melee specialist. Your comms better at being a better comms, and a slight buff to the leader. So I think those would be some really good changes for the Farstalker Kinband overall. Now we come to the Scout Squad kill team, one of the first kill teams for Season 3. They have also been a chronically underperforming kill team, and the changes I think they need are very simple. So for the heavy gunners, the heavy bolter and the missile launcher just gained the cumbersome special rule. So basically, as long as they don't move more than 6 inches, they can still shoot. Well, you know, over 6 inches, they can still shoot. So you can have the scouts moving 6 inches and shooting with their heavy weapons. I think for the scout squad, it makes sense having cumbersome on their heavy weapons because they are Astartes. So allowing them to move and shoot with heavy weapons is fine. Gives them some needed mobility and helps the team so much. And then for guidance and experience, change to not require visibility when the leader is activated, because the leader does have a comms unit and all the scouts have comms units as well. So just making it sure that it's still good at the moment, but because you need visibility, it actually hampers it a lot. So letting it act without the leader needing line of sight, so you can just pick any for any operative when he activates and give them +1 APL. I think that's all the changes the skill team needs. With these two changes, they become more of a threat with handing out that +1 APL, and now your heavy weapons are actually really terrifying because, you know, you can move up turning point 1, then turning point 2, switch from conceal to engage with a rocket launcher and heavy bolter, move into someone's face, shooting, and you've got like ceaseless rerolls. Really, really good. So now we come to the Warpcoven. They have been chronically underperforming. Even with the really nice changes they got in the last balanced data slate, they just haven't been doing well. They're a very weird team where they show the ages, like the Pitfalls of being one of the first White Dwarf teams where they're very, very balanced, but kind of too complex. So I've tried to address these changes as much as possible. So all is dust, delete the last bullet point. So basically, you remove the limitation of rubric marines being unable to move more than 6 inches during their activation. I think that just helps the rubric marines being better overall, because remember, you still have to babysit them because you can rocket rubric marine 9 inches forward or charge them 8 inches forward, but unless you then follow up with a rubric being like a psyker being within 6 inches of them, like red, after that there's still only 2 APL. So I think that just makes them less restrictive. So you still need to require them to be babysat by sorcerers, but not to the same extent. And then for boons, they would be recorded on the roster, but selected upon kill team selection. So instead of picking your boons on your roster, what you do now is you pick the archetypal boon you have, and then when you select your kill team, you just pick which boon from the archetype you have. Because at the moment, you theoretically could have one sorcerer 9 times on your roster to cover all the mutations, which just really limits the kill team's roster building to begin with. So this just frees it up and gives them some more freedom of choice. And then if that didn't work, this probably won't happen, and this last bullet point is probably too much, but giving them an even extra rubric / 2 extra Zangors, I think that's probably too much, but the first 2 changes would be enough, and I think would just help the kill team where they are at the moment. Because personally, I think they need an entire rewrite, but until we get another edition, I don't think that's happening. But changing all is dust to just remove the movement restriction and then freeing up boons would just help the kill team so much without completely overhauling them. Now we go into nerfs. Nerfs is the best part, you know. People get so angry over the nerfs, and I expect people are going to get quite angry over these, but these are primarily based on the stats, you know. So we've got Orc Kommandos. They've literally been dominating the game for 8 months in a row. So these are actually just probably the last changes they will probably ever need. So they either need to revert to their prior buff state for operative selection, which means you don't get the grot and the bomb squig for swapping out a boy, or you make the grot and the bomb squig GA2. I understand the problem is if you make it back to like you can drop a boy for either a grot or a bomb squig, you're never seeing the bomb squig again, and it is a quite fun choice. But just make them GA2. You know, it actually messes up how the kill team plays if they're GA2, because you kind of now they just don't need to be 11 activations. So bringing them down to 10 activations helps a lot. They did it with the Inquisitor, Agent, Leader, and Servo Skull, so it'll be fine here. Then, just a scratch, change to CP 1+ for cost. So it's 1 CP the first time you use it, 2 the second, and 3 the third. Because basically, Commandos now have too much command points because they can only use Sneaker Get once. So they have all these amazing employees to use, and just a scratch is way too strong at the moment. So I think making it CP 1+ means you're probably going to see it twice per game, but unless you're just holding back CP for it, it won't be that reliable. So I think that would just be a good change overall. And then finally, making the Grot grappling hook 2 action points. Because ideally it would need a rewrite. It shouldn't be unlimited movement. But if you look at similar moves like with the Halfkin Salvager Rocket Jump Pack Warrior. His boost move is 2 action points and only in 12 inches. So just making the grot 2 action points to hook shot actually tones down the grot a lot, because at the moment you can dash to get an angle, then hook shot, and then if he's got 3 APL, he can then steal a point. But now, if it's 2 action points to hook shot with the grot, you now have to actually really think about where you deploy the grot, because if it's height, it's actually hard to maneuver. And you may be in situations where you now just move and dash with the grot. And if you give it 3 APL, unless you've got a line of sight on an objective, you're going to now have to dash, then hookshot to an objective. Just because having all the threat of like 9 commandos with a grot who's just stealing objectives for free is way too powerful. And I think with these final changes, the kill team is still playable, but they're no longer super oppressive where they are at the moment. Fellgor Ravager. They are actually incredibly worrying. So the ironic thing is, now I have the access to the stats. Before they got buffed, they were on a 60-ish, like 65% win rate. That was before they got buffed. They are now, after Kommandos, the most successful kill team in the game. They actually have a higher win rate with a really high usage rate. And once again, it shows the, not inability, but the weakness Games Workshop has when it comes to balancing melee teams, because it's a common trend with melee teams where they're just too strong. They've been over-spec'd too much, and Fellgor's is a huge example of that. I don't think this first bullet point is actually going to happen, but I would say Frenzy either doesn't trigger if you incapacitate them in engagement range, because for me, them dying, them frenzying from being shot at, makes complete sense. Them getting angry because you killed them in combat where they like to be in combat, doesn't make sense. It's not fair, especially with all their wounds. Like, ideally, my change would actually be Frenzy. If you kill them in combat, they just automatically hit you as they die. But if they don't want to touch how Frenzy works, you need to make all operatives -2 wounds, because you can't have the durability and then the extra durability from Frenzy. They need one or the other. They either need to be quite fragile with the ability of Frenzy making them effectively need to be killed twice, or you need to give them the durability and make Frenzy worse. At the moment, it's way too powerful, so they need to do something with that, but I don't think that is going to happen. Then for the second bullet point, while frenzied, you cannot do unique actions as well as count towards scoring tac ops for friendly tac ops. So what this would do, because while frenzied, you are hyper frenzied, so you already can't do mission actions, you wouldn't be able to like bang your gong, whip someone for +1 APL, do your Cleaver Fury. You're literally in a frenzied state before you die, so you shouldn't be able to do unique actions. That actually tones down the power of the kill team a lot. And then not being able to score towards tac ops suddenly makes their faction tac ops a lot harder to score instead of auto scores. And it makes stuff like Courier really hard to score, because at the moment, they just put Courier, Surge Forward, and they can just score that from dead operatives. So making frenzied operatives more of a downside would be really, really helpful, and actually stop the kill team just bum rushing you and then scoring stuff while effectively dead before they actually die. Then these are some other changes which I think the kill team desperately needs. The Iron Horn, call the attackers once per game. So that's the leader's dash ability, because the main problem, it's a common trend with melee teams where what you try to do when you're playing against a melee team is you try to just stay out of their charge range. But this kill team has an ability where attack oploy to give them +1 movement for 1 operative once per turning point, and your leader picks a friendly operative and everyone within white of them can do a dash action for free. Now that being once per game is fine, but being able to do that every turn is way too powerful, especially on stuff like Into the Dark, because the problem is you can't actually stay out of their charge range. And because it's such a wide area of effect, you just go like, I'm just going to have to sit here and wait for like 4 Fellgor to just dash into a charge range or in the strategy phase, which I can't react to, and they can do it every turn. It's way too powerful. So being that once per game would help a lot. Then for the Null Scar, change uncompromising attack, so it only works with the auto pistol and not grenades. So we saw this before when we had Daka Dash abilities. So you notably with the Kommandos, where you could Daka Dash, where you could do a free dash action and then free shoot action with grenades, and they removed that. And I think that's needed, because it's not really fair that a Null Scar can charge in, do his uncompromising attack, throw a frag or crack point blank, and then fight again. Like, I think just making it work only with the auto pistol is just enough. Like, you can even do this via an FAQ. Like, it's just weird they've allowed it to work with grenades when it shouldn't. And then war paint, increase it to 2 equipment points. That actually helps a lot. And to be fair, if they ignored the top bullet point and just did these 4, so because if they make war paint 2 equipment points, because war paint is way too good at the moment, it actually makes them force, like they actually have to really think about how they're going to give war paint out. So if frenzied can't do unique actions, as well as can't score tac ops for yourself. Your leader's dash ability is once per game. The Narscar can't use crack grenades and frag grenades with his combined attack. And then war paint is 2 equipment points. That tones down the kill team enough, because the issue is the kill team's way too good. And while they did drop off when they made frenzied operative 0 APL, I think that was more just people knee-jerking and then jumping to Kommandos and Chaos Cult, because the kill team was still really good. And as you can see with the stats, people were actually doing really well with the kill team while they were nerfed. It was just not covered. So this kill team has effectively at 3 months at 60% or higher, and it needs to be toned down. Like, they are winning way more games than Kommandos and are doing very well. So they, like, way better than they should, so they need to be nerfed quite heavily. Then we come to Chaos Cult. So they are borderline. Well, not borderline, they're averaging around 58% every month, and overall for quarter 4 they're at like 58% as well. Their usage has gone down, but they're a problem where they have too many operatives. Like, I'm a personal believer that no kill team should be more than 12 operatives, and this kill team has 15 operatives. The only thing they need now is just -2 devotees, because at -2 devotees, they go down to actually 9 activations, turning point 1. So when they mutate, they go into 10, because they still have 15 operatives who can interact with objectives, and they have not limitless, but they can just recycle torments and mutants. So bringing this down makes the kill team way more manageable. Like, it's a continuing problem with melee teams, and also kind of the Ashes of Faith kill teams, where they were really fun, but way too good at what they do. So just a simple change of -2 devotees would be enough to make them more manageable to play against, because the best way now is to play Super Turtle or just overwhelm the opponent, like hang back until turning point 3 or 4 and then just do a mega push with your, effectively 13 other operatives while you've lost 2-ish during turning points 1 and 2. They just have way too many operatives, and going down by 2 devotees balances them out so much and actually makes kill teams like Blooded more usable, because suddenly now Blooded can outnumber them, because they still have the raw output from the torments as well as their other specialists. Now we have Void Dancer Troupe. So they're a kill team that has basically always done quite well, and Games Workshop has, after they've hit them a few times, has kind of refused to do more. But this past 3 months and past quarter, they've done really well. Once again, averaging nearly a 60% win rate overall. They are very, very good, especially when it comes to Beta Decima, but they were already doing well before Beta Decima came out, and it's kind of just like compounding the effect. The main issue is just fly. So Flip Belt shouldn't have fly. Like, they lost it in 40k because fly was too much of an issue. So what you do is you remove fly, you change it to work like the bound ploy from the Farstalker Kinband. So effectively, every time they traverse, drop, or climb, they reduce the distance by 1 white. So they effectively climb stuff for 2 inches, pseudo drop for free, and traverse through for free. Now you may argue, but John, that's effectively fly. And I'm like, movement wise almost, but they still get slowed down by climbing stuff, and now they can't move through operatives for free, because they lose the ability to fly over walls, fly through operatives, fly through doors, that kind of thing. Huge change, which the kill team desperately needs, because having 8 operatives with fly is way too good. Like, operatives having fly is fine, but a whole kill team, way too much, especially with a fast kill team like this. And then increase the support grip to 2 equipment points, just so the support grip isn't just a free auto pick. And I think with those changes, Void Dancer Troupe would be fine. Now, Novitiates. So this is kind of a similar case to Chaos Cult, but they're a less popular faction, but they have done quite well. And they've been going up and down overall, but the last 3 months, they have also done really well, above 55% consistently. And I think you don't actually have to do both of these changes. I think you just pick one, and then that should be enough. And then if there's still a problem in another 3 months, you add the second. So the main problem with Novitiates is, like, they were designed to playtested, well, like they were played against Pathfinders. And obviously, Pathfinders is a horrible bar to be set against you. And they have way too many dice modification skills. Like, it's way too bad. So I would either, for kill team selection, you can either include 2 Purgatus or 1 Purgatus and 1 Condemner, because effectively those are your 3 gunners. So like it's been done with other kill teams, you can only pick 2 instead of being able to pick 3. So you can't now have, if you want your 2 Mega Flamers, you're losing your Silent Gun. If you want your Silent Gun, you're only taking 1 Flamer. I think that works. And depending how hard you want to go, but I think you can pick whichever one. The Pronatus, for the Raise Relic, you reduce the number of faith points gained by 1 for each condition. So at the moment, you can raise the Chalice for an action point to get 2 faith points, or if you're on an objective or within red of the enemy drop zone, you get 3 acts of faith, like 3 faith points. So if you reduce that by 1, if you do the action now, you get 1 faith point. And if you're on an objective or within red of the enemy drop zone, you get 2. So you get 1 less faith point per turning point. And overall, as long as the Pronatus lives throughout the game, you're actually down 4 acts of faith. Well, 4 faith points. And I think that's a good starting point because you're not destroying their ability to generate faith points, but you're reducing how much they get. So you actually have to be more thoughtful with how you use these, and they're effectively losing 1 reroll per turning point. And honestly, I guess probably that is the better change to do for now. And then if they're still overperforming, then you can change the kill team selection. But I actually think, yeah, probably the Pronatus is fine. You don't need both. You can pick one or the other, and then if they're overperforming, because they're in a situation where it's only slightly, and I think they are a very, very good team, but people don't know how to play them well generally. So I think the better change is actually just reducing how many faith points they get per turning point. Then we get Veteran Guardsmen. So this is probably the most controversial pick. If you ask any Veteran Guardsman player, they will tell you until they're blue in the face that their kill team is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with them. They actually have a fine win rate. I will tell you an interesting story. Like, I only found out once I stopped doing the stats and then restarted again. There were like rumors that people like of a certain scene would manipulate the stats of Vet Guard. So if they overperformed 1 month, would then run tournaments with lots of Vet Guard players just losing to bring down the win rate so they don't get nerfed. But they have actually done really well at tournaments, kind of too well. Their win rate has been about 50%. So this is, as we opened up with the stats, like Vet Guard have been the 3rd best performing kill team at events, podiuming as well as winning events. And if you ask most competitive players, they say Vet Guard are still way too good. I am of that mindset. So I think these nice little changes is enough to hurt them enough competitively so they're still viable, but no longer abusable as they are. So the first thing, and these are both changes which have been has generally done for every other kill team and mechanic. It's only Vet Guard who has dodged these. So the spotter ability doesn't work against enemy operatives within black of heavy cover. So if you're behind heavy cover, you can't be revealed. This is literally a universal change on every kind of conceal ability that flips people from conceal to engage, apart from like some niche cases, but then it only literally works on a 6-up. So it gives you some counterplay into the spotter, right? That should have happened when they made this general change like 18 months ago to the conceal flipping rule. And then the remote mine is once per game and or cannot target operatives through walls. So the main problem with the demo mine is you can do it every turn. With all future kill teams that we've had since Veteran Guardsmen, it's always been once per game. And this one can also target operatives through walls. It's everyone within blue. So even if you're hiding behind a wall, they can place it on one side of the wall and hit everyone within 3 inches behind. But to be fair, the Phobos Strike Team mine does the same thing. So I think just making the remote mine once per game is a lot fairer. And basically, you're not really nerfing the kill team. You're just making their abilities go in line with general gameplay changes, which would also make them more fun to play into. Because at the moment, you're like, unless you have super conceal, you're kind of generally accepting if you go up to the mid-board, the spotter's just going to kill you if you can't get obscurity. And then the remote mine being able to do it every turning point is too good, especially with the ability to dash back. On boards like Into the Dark and very dense boards, you can effectively get remote mines every turn, which no other kill team can do, and it's way too powerful on this kind of kill team with effectively 4 special weapons already. So these changes are more just to bring them in line to general gameplay mechanics, and it would actually make them less oppressive to play into, and I think it would be a net change overall without affecting how you use the kill team in general. So for the overview, you know, as I said, I covered why some teams are left out. These aren't actually all the teams I would like to hit and buff, you know. There are actually several teams like Halfkin I would like to buff, but technically, even though Halfkin have been underperforming, they've been really swingy, but they're literally dead on 45%. And I think it's more of the meta they're in. They're still a really good kill team. It's just like Kommandos, Chaos Cult, and Fellgor are way too rough for Halfkin at the moment. And if you change those teams, I think Halfkin will go up. Like, for example, I would also like to change the internal balance for Hyrotech Circle by nerfing the nanomine, but then making the other cryptechs better. But technically, they've been fine, so they're not changed. So that's why some kill teams are missing. You know, there's more stuff I would like to hit, but I'm just like, let's go for the stats, because that's a nice impartial way. Please don't get angry. It's for fun. You know, some people get very upset. I think people are going to get very upset about the nerfs, especially, I don't know, I actually kind of respect Fellgor players. That, like, they are very open that their kill team is crazy, and they're just like, yeah, we probably deserve this, whereas Vanguard players like, we're fine. But most people are like that about the factions they're like they like. But overview, like quick brief rundown again. So buff crew, make them more killy, make their operatives a bit better. Buff scouts to make their heavy gunners move and shoot and the leader ability more useful. Warpcoven, remove their movement limitation and make their boons better. And then Kommandos, bring them down to 10 activations. You know, nerf the grot a bit and just a scratch. Fellgor, just make frenzied more of a downside so it can't score attack ops, can't do unique actions. You know, the Nullscar can't do grenades with his special ability. The leader's dash ability is once per game, and Wolf Paint is 2 equipment points. Chaos Cult lose 2 operatives. Harlequins lose fly but gain the Farstalker Kinband bound, and the support group goes to 2 equipment points. Novitiates, I would just say you actually only need to just hit the Pronatus by reducing how many acts of faith faith points it generates by 1 for each option. And then for Vet Guard, Spotter doesn't work behind Heavy, and the Demo Miners once per game. I think with all those changes, we'd have a really, really fun and balanced and exciting meta. But we'll see. I mean, we should be getting a balanced data slate later in the month. I'm expecting either the week or the week after Adepticon, because it should be coming out in March, because these come out every 3 months. And the game desperately needs one. Like, literally, Kommandos have been dominating the game for 8 months. They now just need to be stopped, and then especially Fellgor as well. But I think the buff changes will also really help chronically underperforming teams like Warpcoven and Farstalker Kinband, and make the Scouts, who are actually a really popular team, way more useful and fun to play. So hopefully that happens. But, you know, this is just, I am not a playtester, so we'll see what happens. You know, I have to say, like, I was one of the people pushing for the Commando Bomb Squid Grot, and it turned out it was one of the most cursed decisions in all of Kill Team. So, you know, we'll see. But it's all for fun. We'll see. You know, it's just like gambling, but with no money, and nothing can ever go wrong with that. Although I don't condone gambling. But until next time, remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Did you like the buffs and nerfs I have suggested and think are needed? Are there any kill teams you think I'm missing? Are there any kill teams you think I need to buff more? Or kill teams you want to see nerfed more, like other kill teams? Or do you want to do more harder nerfs? Let me know. And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, and a affiliate at Element Games if you want to give me some more support, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. And I'll quickly shout out my patrons. So for my adepts of the crit, I have Tom, Sam, Nikki Sticks, Nick, Mr. Meatwad, Kenzie, John Thomas, Graham, Dad of Goldens, Ben, and for my veterans of the crit, I have Sam. Just so thank you so much for all your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. But I'll be up with another video this week, hopefully. I'm also at Warhammer World on Wednesday if you're about, so come and say hi if you're there. Playing some more tournaments. I'm like really in an R in. Like, I love Star Striders at the moment, but Kommandos, Chaos Core, and Fellgor are so horrible. It's just depressing, but I think I'll stick with them just because it's fun, and I need to stick with the kill team instead of yo-yoing and about. But I've got a lot of stuff to come up, and yeah, it's good to be back playing again more regularly. It's just, I don't know, the meta is just so weird, but everyone's really cool, and yeah. I'll be coming up with some more stuff soon, like another tournament report. I need to show off my painted kill teams and some other fun stuff like It's a shame I can't go to Adepticon, but it's going to be super fun. I'm going Nova. I've got my own tournament coming up in June in Leicester, so you should definitely sign up to that. And I'll be going to some more UK events as well. So this is going to be a fun year for competitive Kill Team. But remember, no matter how many nerfs you get hit by, remember there's always a chance to win as long as you can roll a crit. I'm not a playtester.